Welcome back. A man planning a Sydney terror attack told undercover police he would not stop shooting even if he had a baby in his sights. 20-year-old Tamim Kahaja has pleaded guilty to planning or preparing a terrorist attack. Tonight, for the first time in his own words, we can hear what he planned.
Tamim Kahaja, an Islamic State supporter with a plan for mayhem and murder. Heavily armed police stormed a building that's supposed to be a safe place for people in need. But one man receiving help and support at this crisis accommodation was set upon and killed.
I've never had a problem. It's always been safe. Like it's been good. And then when this happens, it just freaks you out.
The frenzied attack happened in the courtyard. It was sparked by a disagreement over breakfast.
Ugly scenes on a cruise ship off the state's south coast. A family removed after they were allegedly involved in several violent clashes. However, it's not just the behaviour of the passengers being condemned today. The company forced to defend the heavy-handed actions of its crew.
On board a luxury cruise ship, passengers and security descend into lawlessness.
I've certainly never had a date like this before. So we had a lovely meal out. We decided that we'd like to continue on back at my place. So we got a bottle of wine and went back to my house to watch a documentary. She went to the toilet. Unfortunately, it wouldn't flush and she decided to throw it out the window.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. It was the week that the UK government unveiled an artificial intelligence tool for blocking extremist content online. And it's not just airspace that drones are going to be occupying in the near future. Researchers at North Carolina State University have developed a drone that can fly through the air and propel itself underwater.
No, we should absolutely not be worried about eating bread at all. The diet is about a multitude of foods, it's about a balance. So if we were worried about bread, for example, I'd only be worried about somebody consuming bread if they were overeating bread or undereating it.
Time to get out, they can't start firing as well.
The young extremist was under surveillance by counter-terrorism police. Audio of his conversations with undercover officers today released by a court.
If I had something heavy duty and I wasn't alone, if I had someone with me, I could maximise the results a lot.
He was watched from the ground, from the air, his secret messages hacked, saying he was determined to kill and keep killing anyone.
甜甜蜜蜜，大吉大利。
He got up and then he just threw his cornflakes everywhere and just went ballistic. Like he'd been up on, I think he's been up for a few days on ice.
The man ran to his room and allegedly armed himself.
A knife that long, and he had a shifter in his hand.
I saw him run to go get the shiv, and then when I came back, I just saw all the blood.
The injured resident was treated in the foyer for multiple stab wounds. He was taken to hospital but died on the way. Grown men charge at each other. A guard slaps a camera out of a man's hands. Two others kick men wrestling on the ground as their colleague cocks his fist, poised to punch a woman in the face.
That was sickening. That was really sickening. Just, being around children, carrying on around children.
Now my house is a bit quirky. The bathroom window doesn't actually open out to the outside garden, it opens out into a little air gap, and there's a double glazed window between that and the outside garden. So unfortunately her business got stuck in the air gap between the two windows. She was reaching into the window with a plastic bag over her hand to try and reach the poo out of the window. Now she couldn't quite reach, obviously, it's quite a deep window, so she basically put her head and her shoulders in through into the window.
Plus, the Winter Olympics website was frozen by a cyber attack during the opening ceremony. And the robots got to compete in their own Winter Olympics. 8 teams unleashed downhill skiing droids onto the slopes, competing for a $10,000 prize.
Processed breads contain extra preservatives and additives, so ideally we should be keeping these to a minimum, and the majority of our bread consumption should be whole grain seeded breads.
I'm not going to stop firing. If there's like a 2-month-old baby or someone holding a baby, I wouldn't buckle in the situation. He'd considered various targets: courthouses, the US Embassy, the Navy base at Woolloomooloo, and the Timor Army barracks at Dundas.
The base is basically for like Anzac Day, whatever it is, they have a lot of soldiers come there. Or regularly there will be soldiers there that come and train kids on a week.
年年有余，满地黄金。
Excessive behavior of all kinds is something that we do not tolerate, regardless of that being guests or crew members.
The 10-day cruise aboard the Carnival Legend turned into the holiday from hell. Passengers forced to watch a series of violent brawls instigated by one large Melbourne family.
She was then upside down in the window. She did manage to grab the poo in the plastic bag. She passed out to me. I put it back in the toilet. That was all fine. Fortunately, at that moment, she asked me to help her get out, and she was stuck. She was a lot calmer than me. She was a lot more cool, calm and collected than I was.
Robots aren't just skiing though. Boston Dynamics is at it again, with a demo guaranteed to freak most people out. Its RoboDog can now open doors. That's one less obstacle in the way of world domination for our future robot overlords. And pig farmers in China are using AI to bring home the bacon. Using ID barcodes on pigs, the AI measures animals' health and behaviour, which developers Alibaba hope will improve farming efficiency.
What I would be recommending is when you have a look at your bread in the supermarket, just take a look at the ingredients at the back and just see whether you can recognise those ingredients. Are they familiar, actual, real foods, or are they foods that you can't even read or pronounce?
Khaja started planning his attack after a failed attempt to travel to Syria. The judge described Khaja as appearing to be in a state of possessed religious fanaticism. He said when the 20-year-old spoke of his plans, it was as if he was planning for a picnic and not a terrorist attack. The 20-year-old was arrested in 2016. He's pleaded guilty to a charge of planning or preparing a terrorist attack.
Witnesses say the group picked baseless fights with strangers, leaving them bloodied in front of stunned adults and children. The violence was happening almost daily. It took until the 9th day of the voyage for organisers to finally act.
We did actually finish the bottle of wine and decided to call it a night there. The window's going to cost probably £300–400, which just isn't money that I have available to me. So one of my friends actually suggested that we should set up a GoFundMe page. Well, I'm really busy with my dissertation at the moment, but you know, as to what the future holds, I don't know. She was certainly a very, very nice girl.
And finally, Bitcoin might be preventing us from making contact with aliens. Researchers at SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, complained this week that the price of key computer chips have been driven through the roof by demand from cryptocurrency miners. With no price drop in sight, we'll all just have to watch this space.
So whole grain means that we are getting the whole grain of that cereal, and that means that our bodies need to digest that, and it takes longer for us to digest it, therefore we feel fuller for longer. So we're getting lots of extra roughage, and the evidence does suggest that that extra roughage in your bowel is really helpful for you to keep a healthy gut.
Federal police called to escort 26 members of the family off the ship to cheers and applause from fed-up holidaymakers.
Yeah, get off!
Police haven't ruled out laying charges. Jodie Lee, 7 News.